On today's Growing Bolder, get up and stay active with Master Sports. We'll explore the inspirational stories of older athletes who are smashing stereotypes every day. Plus, we'll look ahead to the next National Senior Games where records will be broken, but more importantly, lives will be changed.
You know, the health and the well-being side of it is a big component of this. It is a competition, yes, but the social interaction for people, the mental, the physical are so important for people as they're aging.
And we'll dive deeper into the health benefits of Master Sports with a renowned evolutionary biology professor who explains how exercise actually works as medicine. Those stories and more on today's Growing Bolder. We're not made to withdraw from life. We're made to seize each moment and to value every breath. We're made to be bold, to take risks, and to help others. We are the most creative, fearless, passionate being that has ever walked the face of the earth. Don't identify with limitation. Embrace possibility. This is not the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of what's next. This is Growing Bolder. Hi, and welcome to Growing Bolder. I'm Mark Middleton, and of course there are many keys to healthy aging, but two of the biggest are to maintain strong social connections and to engage in some form of regular exercise. And that's why we love Masters or Senior Sports. Men and women from 50 to over 100 are now the fastest growing group in nearly every sport. And while some are former college stars or even Olympic champions, most are just ordinary men and women who are simply trying to improve their overall well-being, to bounce back from a health setback, to lose some weight, or to be ready for their next adventure, because they know that if you want to keep moving, you have to keep moving. Today we're going to introduce you to some of the men and women whose lives have been transformed by their participation in Master Sports. These are men and women who prove that the real benefits don't really come from winning, but simply from participating. These are men and women who benefit in countless ways from being part of a community with a shared passion. Diane Ustel was in a serious car accident, and doctors told her she probably would never walk again. Her rehabilitation included water therapy, and while still recovering from that accident, she took a fall on a slippery floor, breaking her shoulder and ripping all 3 hamstrings from her hip. Several surgeries later, she was back floating in a pool. But she didn't stop there. She began to swim, and then swim faster. And now at age 75, Diane Ustel has set over 40 national and 15 world age group records. If you think it's too late for you to get involved, just ask 105-year-old Julia Hawkins. She didn't start running until she was 100. This is Julia at 103, competing in the 100-meter dash at the National Senior Games. She told Growing Bolder that she likes the competition, but it's the camaraderie that keeps her going. Dottie Gray was also in that race. Dottie fell and broke her hip at age 93, and doctors told her family she'd be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. But this is Dottie at 94, just 18 months later, destroying the stereotype that 90-year-olds can't bounce back from a broken hip. They can if they were in great shape when it happened. It's because of stories like these and countless others that Growing Bolder has become the exclusive media partner of the National Senior Games Association. It's a national grassroots effort to encourage and support health and well-being through exercise and socialization. And that's more important than ever because sedentary lifestyles and social isolation are the primary causes of obesity, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, colon cancer, osteoporosis, depression, and much more. I recently caught up with the CEO of the National Senior Games Association. We're going to, as part of our partnership, we're going to create some new media products. We're going to provide an opportunity for different brands to get involved in the National Senior Games Association. I mean, what would you say to people that don't really understand this demographic, the value of this demographic, their interest in travel and the money that they have?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this group is an active group. they want to be active. They want to get out. They want to move around. They want to see the world. They want to try. They want to experience things. That's what it's all about. So all different brands, that applies to so many different things in so many different categories. And I think that's where it's a wide open prairie of opportunities for people to get involved with the senior games and be able to share products that are actually very helpful and beneficial to the athletes that they're wanting. That's the other thing. Our athletes want this information. They want to know, they want to learn, they want to experience it.
And when you look at what you guys do and the people that participate, it's really easy to not understand, if you don't pay attention, that what you're doing is in the midst of an obesity epidemic. What you're doing is in the midst of a epidemic of preventable chronic disease. What you're doing is in the midst of an age wave in which 10,000 of us are turning 65 each and every day. What you're doing, the service you're providing, is critically important to our culture in general.
Yeah, we really do believe in that. You know, the health and the well-being side of it is a big component of this. It is a competition, yes, but the social interaction for people, the mental, the physical are so important for people as they're aging. And people are becoming much more aware and in tune to that stuff. And they're looking for things and opportunities to better themselves, to live a life that's great quality of life for them and their friends and their relatives. And that's what we want to provide, that opportunity. As we always say, we're about the fun, we're about the fitness, and we're about fellowship.
I know you wouldn't dedicate the time, the energy, the effort, the heart that you do to this if you didn't believe in it. You're obviously a mission-driven guy. But that said, how has it impacted you personally? What have you learned that you've taken into your own life from your association with these athletes?
Yeah, it is really amazing when you just have to reflect back on thinking that every little tiny thing that you think you have an issue or concern with that maybe gets blown into a much bigger scale, you just kind of scale it back again and realize the importance of some of the minor things and some of the beauty of the life that these people are living and what they continue to do and how they contribute. I think that's the beauty of it. When you watch and you see these competitors, that people most times go to a competition and it's a competitor. They're not going to talk to their competitor. Here they're sharing and educating one another and telling people, hey, you know, you probably could do a little better if you did your start a little differently, or you held your paddle this way. They're so engaged in helping one another. It has created a big family, and I love that about it. It's a community that's helping one another.
And finally, just a word about the Growing Boulder partnership and the fact that we kind of, share missions and there were kindred spirits. Anything you can say about Growing Boulder?
Yeah, I mean, Growing Boulder is the epitome of what active aging is all about and living a life. And I love the slogan, Growing Boulder. I mean, it exemplifies exactly what you talk about. I always talk about, ordinary people living extraordinary lives. I mean, you've captured the whole concept of what it is. And I believe that's what we've tried to embrace ourselves. So the synergy between us is such a perfect match when you're trying to share these messages with a partner that truly understands it, lives it, and breathes it every single day. It's not just a one-day story for you when you cover the National Senior Games. You guys are living that type of thing 365 days, 24 hours a day. And that's a partner that we are so excited to be part of and so thankful that we have this opportunity.
The one thing that we've learned is that every one of these older athletes has an inspiring story, and we're already getting geared up to share those stories at the upcoming National Senior Games in Fort Lauderdale. A record of nearly 15,000 athletes competed in the last National Senior Games in Albuquerque, and of course, Growing Boulder was there. Bill Schaefer witnessed the inspiration firsthand. And Bill, it is a lot of fun to look back and exciting to look forward to Fort Lauderdale.
Well, I don't know if we can overemphasize how different and really wonderful the National Senior Games are. Mark pointed out some of the most amazing moments, but there are so many bits of magic that happen on every level. It's why Growing Boulder and the National Senior Games Association is such a great combination, so you can see unforgettable accomplishments like these.
By the time the flame arrived in Albuquerque Civic Plaza, the National Senior Games were already a success. A record 13,712 athletes came from nearly every state, including Hawaii and Alaska! Records were set, inspiration was delivered,
Go Tigers!
and friends were made. In a word, the experience was
awesome! Incredible!
Fantastic!
Spectacular!
Unbelievably fantastic!
It was not only the largest senior games in the event's 32-year history, it was the largest multi-sport competition in the world for athletes over 50.
Way to go, Betsy!
And they didn't come alone. Over 25,000 family members tagged along to support and encourage and to be inspired.
I can't wait till I can be like Shmoo, where I'm here and I'm doing my thing and showing everybody what's what and just kicking butt and taking names. And that's censored for you, so you're welcome.
Shmoo SA! Shmoo SA! Shmoo SA!
Athletes of all shapes, sizes, and abilities came to Albuquerque to run for records and to swim just for the joy of it. They came to bond with teammates, and they came to encourage one another.
So you're not just winning medals, you're making friends.
Yes, and that's what it's about. You compete, you encourage people, you enjoy, you have fun, because it's memories, you know.
They came to stretch themselves physically and socially, to make personal records and new best friends.
The neatest thing is we meet wonderful people from all over the country.
Growing Bolder didn't come to the games just to report results.
We came to tell the story behind the story, the moral of the story, and Rowdy, everybody here does have a story to tell.
Yeah, they really do, Mark. And one of the things I love so much about Masters athletes that they teach us that no matter what the age, they can still stay active and they still can stay engaged in what they love to do.
We came to share the stories of ordinary people living extraordinary lives, to learn the lessons of those who have battled back from disease, disability, and adversity of all kinds.
Do not fear what is in your heart.
I'll tell you, I had a knee replaced, 2 shoulder surgeries, and it proves that you still can do anything you want to do.
I used to be 100 pounds overweight. I used to be a heavy drinker, heavy smoker. I did everything wrong you could possibly do, and I've turned my life around 100%.
Just keep moving and have a good time, and you can do whatever you want.
We came to the games to encourage.
I am so proud of y'all. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Rowdy.
We came to learn from the big names.
We are thrilled to be standing next to one of the greatest entertainers in America today. We're talking about Pat Boone. Now, you notice I didn't say one of the greatest basketball players.
And from little ladies with big messages.
So tell me what the moral of the Julia Hawkins story is. What's the takeaway? What do you want people to know?
Just keep moving and doing. Always have something ahead of you that you're looking forward to.
We came to spread the word about the power of belief, to celebrate the culture of positivity and the growing bolder attitude that we're not meant to withdraw from life as we age, we're meant to lean into it.
I think you guys are doing a great work. I love the coverage that you're doing, the stories that you're writing, and there's really nothing off limits that you can do. If you work hard, there's no telling what you can accomplish.
You like the concept of growing bolder and not growing older?
Love it. That's what I'm doing.
How much is growing bolder responsible for your success today?
The growing bolder attitude is responsible for all of it. But you don't understand. I had some of that already. I was just glad I found somebody that's preaching it, man. It's like, yes.
When all of us from Growing Bolder went to the National Senior Games, we had no idea what we were going to find, but we came away so excited, fired up, and inspired by what we saw and who we met. It was clear this was the place to find hope, adventure, and all kinds of possibilities. And it's not just the events. In fact, they're just part of the story. The rest is meeting people who've had every reason to give up but did not. Mark sat down with NSGA's Del Moon to better understand the benefits that are there for us all.
Without exception, you don't have anybody in a National Senior Games competition that's in their 70s, 90s, or 100s that hasn't had a major health issue, but yet they bounce back. Talk to about that benefit.
Yes, when you participate, when you take care of your body, when you let it do and work it the way that it's supposed to be, you can go a long time and you can overcome a lot of things. There's a lot of people who feel like they're scared going through aging, like the first thing that hits them, I'm going to die. And the fact that these people, 3, 4, 5, Jerry Lavasser out of Maine, has had cancer 4 times in the last 15 years and keeps knocking it back. And he says, I wouldn't even be alive today if I wasn't doing what I was doing. So yes, it's not that the challenges of life aren't going to hit you, it's what you do with them. And these people demonstrate that you can succeed, not just overcome, not just survive, but you can succeed after facing life challenges.
And you know this better than anybody. I've often said one of the things I love about the National Senior Games is that the influencers are not just the superstars. In many cases, the influencers are the 80 and 90-year-olds that didn't even start competing until 3 or 4 years before that. But what they're doing is so remarkable that they really become major influencers, which is what all brands want now.
Exactly, and the majority of our athletes are not elite athletes. And a large number of them found their sport or returned to their sport after life got in the way after the age of 50. And so it's like a new career for them. And then the times and the distances and all that stuff doesn't really matter. They're out there, they're doing it. In most cases, they're competing against themselves. And there are other people doing the same thing, and they support and love one another. So it's just a wonderful thing to behold, but it's a lesson. You know, I'm watching it, say, isn't this great? And I go, well, wait a minute, if I was like them, I'll be like them when I'm 90 years old. Duh.
But we all understand how important it is to stay active and involved, and how eating right and exercising is the most powerful medicine you can take to keep things from happening in the first place. And when exercise is disguised as fun, we're more likely to stick with it, and that's the magic of the National Senior Games. It's something to put on the calendar, to train for, to get excited about, not even to mention the benefits from the physical activity. Here's researcher and renowned orthopedic surgeon Vonda Wright.
As we age, maintaining our body composition is very important. Hi, I'm Dr. Vonda Wright, and I'm an orthopedic surgeon, and I study how to maintain our lean muscle mass. You know, I did this remarkable observation of masters athletes from 40 to 80, where I actually looked at how being chronically mobile helped us keep our muscles strong. So here's what I did. I put my subjects in an MRI and took slices, if you will, with a magnet of their quad muscles. You know those muscles that surround our thighs? And what I found was that in 40-year-old masters athletes, our muscles look gorgeous. They have wonderful architecture. They have no intramuscular fat, and they're very, very strong. But then I had subjects in my study who had chosen to sit around for 35 years. And their muscle became almost unrecognizable. In fact, if you think of the 40-year-old triathlete as a flank steak, sitting around for 35 years will make us turn into rump roast. But here's the important part. When I looked at people who had been chronically active, investing every single day in their mobility, I found that they maintained their lean muscle mass. They had minimal amounts of peripheral fat or minimal amounts of fat within their muscle themselves. And they remained very, very strong. This shows us that our body composition not only can be maintained, but is really important, because here's the facts. Fat is not just hanging around our bodies in inconvenient places. In fact, it is a noxious metabolic organ. It releases all kinds of chemicals called cytokines, such as IL-6. These cytokines inflame our entire body, leading to aging and disease. It can even contribute to developing insulin resistance, which is the cause of diabetes. So my advice to you is, let's invest in building some lean muscle mass through chronic mobility. For Growing Bolder, I'm Dr. Vonda Wright.
So important. Dr. Vonda Wright reinforcing that if we stay active and engaged, we increase the chances of making the rest of our lives the best of our lives. And now let's continue our dive into masters sports and look at what happens when we push ourselves hard beyond the point we think we can go. And for that, we go to Mark.
Most of the over 13,000 competitors come just to participate. But some come to chase records. They come to challenge themselves, and every now and then They push themselves a little too hard, a little too soon, and they find out what they're made of. This is the women's 55 to 59 800-meter run, and Alicia Antoinette is taking it out faster than record pace. In fact, she would later tell us she took it out way too fast, and at 400 meters, she thought she might be in trouble. But she hung on, and she tapped into the power within. Given the altitude, given the heat, given that you're a New Jersey girl, did you take it out too fast?
I didn't think so because I'm used to running at that pace. But I recognized when I got into my second lap, I was having some issues.
So what do you do when you realize on the second lap of an 800 that you might be in trouble?
I believe in prayer. I believe God can do all things, and I am His product. So I call on my Heavenly Father. Take me home, Jesus. Here am I.
Here you are. And what's the moral of the story? What do people, there's a lot of women out there watching that may never want to run an 800 meters, may never want to get involved in the National Senior Games, but still they can learn something from you. What's the lesson you want to teach?
My lesson is self-satisfaction, being comfortable with what you've chosen, and pursuing it with passion.
Pursuing it as a passion. I love that. Alicia makes a great point. There are a lot of people who just go through the motions, but it's the passion for something that takes it to the next level in terms of both enjoyment and benefits. You don't have to be a runner. You don't even have to be an athlete of any kind, but you do have to find some form of regular movement that you can be passionate about. It can be walking or dancing, hiking, yoga, tai chi, sword fighting. The possibilities are limitless. I recently had the chance to talk with Dr. James Hicks, who is a professor of evolutionary biology at the University of California in Irvine. Dr. Hicks teaches a unique class that's called Exercise as Medicine to biology and pre-med students because it's been proven that physical activity is actually more effective than pills in preventing and treating most illness.
We can't change our chronological age, but we can actually adjust our physiological age. You know, we've known for a long time, many studies have shown that we peak in terms of our physiological capacity around 30 years of age, and then there is a decline. And some of that decline, I think previously people used to think, well, that decline was inevitable and you just declined along some slope. But what we know now is that that slope is not fixed. It can be adjusted, and we can improve our physiological capacity primarily by remaining active, physically active throughout our entire life. And it never ends. I mean, you can be sedentary most of your adult life and suddenly start to exercise regularly, and you will improve your physiological capacity and function. The better overall level of fitness, the more resilient you will be in terms of dealing with, as you said, these kinds of setbacks that we all deal with as we age. And so it is, I love the term prehabilitation because it really is helping you deal with some of the things that will occur during life. And the better shape you're in, the better cardiorespiratory fitness, the more you move, the better you're going to be in terms of dealing with those. That's why I wanted to start this class and express to students that not only is physical activity important when you're younger, but it's important throughout your entire life. And it really does act as you said in the introduction, almost like a fountain of youth.
Dr. Hicks likes to describe exercise as a fountain of youth, and I think that's as close as we're ever going to get. We do live in a world in which science and technology and medicine are all promising some amazing breakthroughs in the pursuit of life extension. And of course, the promise of a pill or a procedure that might deliver a longer, healthier life is an intoxicating thought to a mostly sedentary population that's suffering from multiple chronic health conditions. But don't be deceived. There will never be anything like exercise in a pill. No matter what interventions might be cooked up, including gene editing, designer drug cocktails, cellular reprogramming, and novel immunotherapies, they will always be subject to this one basic, incontrovertible fact of life. If you want to keep moving, you have to keep moving. The name of the game isn't extending our lifespan, it's extending our health span. And that comes from the things that only you can control. Better exercise, improved nutrition, better sleep, meaningful social engagement, and a better belief system about what's possible. When you think about it, it comes from growing bolder. We'll see you next time.
Watch previous seasons of Growing Bolder plus bonus stories via our new free streaming app. More information at growingbolder.com/TV. And you can get inspired to plan your what's next when you connect with the Growing Bolder community on Facebook. Show the world you're growing bolder with official Growing Bolder products. Growing Bolder tees and hats are available for $25 each. Custom mugs are $15, and inspiring Tear and Share postcards featuring original artwork and bold messages are $15 plus shipping and handling. All items are available at growingbolder.com/shop.